Hello everyone. I'm so excited to come in front of you all to share the book I'm going to read about. You know why? Because I'm reading a book about the delicious stew. Yes, the thing about stew itself makes my mouth watering, and I'm so much feeling to have the stew. So let's get into the story and see who's making the stew and why is it so yummy. The title of the book which we are going to read is Thank You, Ah-moo, written by Oge Mora, published by Lil Brown and Company, New York. The book starts with a note to the reader. How do you pronounce O-M-U? It's not Omu, it's Ah-moo. It's Ah-moo, and it's a Igbo term for queen. So that means thank you, queen, in English. This is the title page. So when you see this, when you see the artwork, when you see the pictures, illustrations, what is that which comes to your mind? What do you think? Does it look like a normal artwork? How does this differentiate from the other picture book? On the corner of First Street and Long Street, on the very top floor, Ah-moo was cooking a thick red stew in a big fat pot for a nice evening meal. She seasoned and stirred it and took a small taste. What a delicious stew, Ah-moo said. Tonight's dinner will surely be the best I have ever had. With that, Ah-moo put down her spoon and went to read a book before supper. As the thick red stew simmered on the stove, its scrumptious scent wafted out the window and out the door, down the hall, toward the street and around the block until... Yes, there was a knock. Someone was at the door. When Ah-moo opened it, she saw a little boy. Little boy? Ah-moo exclaimed. What brings you to my home? I was playing with my race car down the hall when I smelled the most delicious smell. The little boy replied, What is that? Thick red stew. Stew, he sighed. That sure sounds yummy. Ah-moo thought for a moment. She was saving her stew for dinner, but she had made quite a bit. It would not hurt to share. Would you like some? The little boy nodded, and so Ah-moo spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. Thank you, Ah-moo, the little boy said and went on his way. With that, Ah-moo closed the door and went back to her book. As she read, her thick red stew's scrumptious scent wafted out the window and out the door, down the hall toward the street and around the block until someone was at the door. When Ah-moo opened the door, this time she saw a police officer. Miss Police Officer? Ah-moo exclaimed. What brings you to my home? I was on my duty down the street when I smelled the most delicious smell. Miss Police Officer replied, What is that? Thick red stew. Ah, stew, she said, and her mouth watered. That sounds mighty tasty. Ah-moo thought for a moment. There was still enough to share. Would you like some? The police officer nodded. Once again, Ah-moo spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. Thank you, Ah-moo, the police officer said and went on her way. And so for the second time, Ah-moo closed the door and went back to her book. Sure enough, as she read, her thick red stew's scrumptious scent wafted out the window and out the door, down the hall toward the street and around the block until... Again, someone was at Ah-moo's door. This time when she opened it, she saw a hot dog vendor. Mr. Hot Dog Vendor? Ah-moo exclaimed. What brings you to my home? I was selling my hot dogs down the block when I smelled the most delicious smell. Mr. Hot Dog Vendor replied, "What is that?" "Thick red stew." "Ooh, stew!" The vendor licked his lips. "That sounds quite delectable." So Ah-moo spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. "Thank you, Ah-moo," the hot dog vendor said and went on his way. Throughout the day, people from all across the neighborhood knocked on Ah-moo's door. She fed a shop owner, a cab driver, a doctor, an actor, a lawyer, a dancer, a baker, an artist, a singer, an athlete, a bus driver, a construction worker. Even the mayor stopped by. And each time they knocked, Ah-moo shared. Soon the sky darkened, the street lights brightened, and it was finally time for dinner. But when Ah-moo opened her big fat pot of thick red stew for her nice evening meal, it was empty. Ah-moo sniffled. "There goes the best dinner I ever had." Sorry and blue, she sat at the table with her empty pot until who could that be? Ah-moo wondered. When she opened her door, she saw the little boy, the police officer, the hot dog vendor, the shop owner, the cab driver, the doctor, the actor, the lawyer, the dancer, the baker. Why, everyone she fed today was at her door. "I'm sorry, everyone," Ah-moo sighed. "My thick red stew is all gone. I have nothing left to share." The little boy tugged at Ah-moo's sleeve. "Don't worry, Ah-moo. We are not here to ask. We are here to give." The police officer carried in a fresh salad. The mayor entered with a roast chicken. The baker brought a collection of sweet goodies. Even the little boy presented Ah-moo with something special in a shiny red envelope. Everyone who had knocked on Ah-moo's door that day squeezed inside her tiny apartment, and together they ate, danced, and celebrated. While Ah-moo's big fat pot of thick red stew was empty, her heart was full of happiness and love. That dinner was the best she had ever had. Thank you, Ah-moo. So that was what Ah-moo's stew was. And the whole story, we know it's about sharing. Sharing is a lot like giving thanks. They both bring people together. So you all saw how everyone came together at the end and had a delicious feast. Yes, so that was a story about Ah-moo.